done.
You have a bunny called Cameron.
I have a bunny called Cameron. Yeah.
Well,
For
if
camera,
you brought
get
the
it?
buddy named Cameron from Cameron might get a little confusing. So Anthony does it for the greater good.
His mind can't handle it.
It's like it's like a Back to the Future scenario. The Camerons can't really meet, otherwise there might be a cataclysmic event.
Welcome to the Capcom Podcast. I hope you all have had a great last 2 weeks. How is everyone else doing? Let's start with. Nope, that's the wrong way. Let's start with Justin.
Hey everyone, my name is Justin, and over the last over the last 3 nights, I did a Kung Fu Panda marathon. Actually, put the full screen on me for a second because we're going to enter Justin's Fury, everyone's favorite segment of the bi-weekly podcast. Okay, so as though you may or may not know, I was not on the last podcast. I was sneezing. So, issue being that there was in the podcast a choice made in which we said, we meaning everyone else but me, said, what movie we doing next time?
I'd like to point out real quick, this was Anthony. So if you have any blame, put it on Anthony.
It wasn't me.
You could put all the blame on me. It's fine.
No,
It's fine.
because as someone who listens to the podcast, I can inform you all who are actually there that after Kung Fu Panda 4 was suggested, Cameron said, quote unquote, Justin doesn't get a vote, he isn't here. Exact words. To which I would like to then establish for all those listening that over the past month, before that podcast, 2 different occasions occurred in which Cameron said, let's go to the movies. Can we see Kung Fu Panda 4? And I said, no, I do not want to do that. 2 different times, 2 different events in which I said, no, I do not want to watch that. Fast forward a couple weeks, it is suggested, and Cameron says, not only am I going to say yes, I'm going to establish right here and right now that Justin can't veto this. I feel like this is, like it was a targeted attack. And not that I didn't want to experience Kung Fu Panda 4. It's just that I had only seen the first one, and I hadn't seen the second and third, and I can't do that. I can't just skip these movies, especially if they're just nothing movies. If this was the Meg 5, yeah, I'll just watch the dumb shark movie out of order, whatever. Sorry to the Meg stance, but that was just first thing that came to mind. But these are crafted movies. I'm watching them in order. So 3 nights in a row I did a Kung Fu Panda movie, and I had an overall really good time. I'm still angry at Cameron. And that's been my last 2 weeks.
So, Justin, let me ask you this. Are you now in a really deep mood for noodle soup?
No.
Deep mood what?
Wait, what do you?
Are you now in a really good mood for noodle soup?
Yes,
Dumpling.
I
Can't
had
with you
quite
guys.
a few.
Yeah.
What about good old dumplings?
Okay, I could fit quite a many in my mouth all at once. I admit it. That's I guess it's more of a previous movie reference as opposed to the 4th one. We didn't really get a lot of that in the 4th one. But
I'd like to point out that, Justin, I did not do this to spite you. I more did. The spiting was more towards you weren't there, therefore you don't get a say. I totally forgot that I asked you to watch Kung Fu Panda with me multiple occasions.
Seb and Anthony, are you also noticing that Cameron, as opposed to apologizing, is getting defensive?
I'm not going to apologize for this. This is not.
I wouldn't say he's defensive. I would just say he's trying to just move on from it.
Yeah, I agree with Seb with that one. I think he's going to move on from it.
Oh, jeez.
He's just going around.
He's just
around the circle.
He's just trying to get to another topic. He's just choosing another topic without you having a say.
Yeah. I'm trying to end the squash.
Well, I'm
Oh,
sorry
I'd like a round of
for trying to
squash.
bring entertainment to the podcast. We can move on.
Anthony, I just don't know how to respond. End of sentence.
How have I been? I gotta think about it. I've been good. I've been traveling for work. It is the season for me. I'm going to Minneapolis next weekend. I did number one, I caught a rat in my office. Number two, they call me Rat Man now, or the sheriff. They call me the sheriff technically. Number two, I know how to do a Janet Jackson dance. I have a video of it. I could share it with you guys later. I'll share it with you guys now. What am I doing? I'll share it to you guys now. I don't know, Cameron, if you'd be able to put it on the podcast for people to see.
Do you have the present? Like, I don't know how you guys can you present things as well or no?
It's on my phone.
I knew that I could last time because I was at your PC logging in.
Oh,
and I had the whole thing.
I'm going to email this video.
No, message to me over WhatsApp. I have WhatsApp on my laptop.
Yeah, that works.
And then I'll do it that way.
But before we move on too fast, so Anthony, who is the rat?
It was a little mouse. It was really cute.
Oh.
But you set it free because it's cute?
Well, because everyone in my office wanted me to set it free and not kill it.
Oof, okay.
Boring.
What?
That's
we need drama for the plot.
I was gonna call the exterminator, or but then oh my gosh, why won't let me say this video? Sorry, multitasking is not my strong suit.
Just
but yeah,
send it to me over WhatsApp or put it in the group. We have a little group now with all of us in it. It's fun. Get to do some hijinks off the podcast.
They call me sheriff because now we have another mouse, but it's stuck in the closet, and I was too busy and I wasn't gonna get it because I had work to actually.
Does not sound like a very sanitary place.
I mean, really I think mouses could also be very open about their sexuality in 2024.
We gotta work.
If a mouse can do the job, so can I.
Well, as Anthony is the sheriff, he's going to clean up those streets, Cameron. Don't you worry.
Yes, I am.
Think
I
we
have
should
my whole
name the new mouse Ratatouille.
Ratatouille.
That's not his name.
Or Remy?
Yeah, I said that.
So we need animals for everyone. We already have a bunny named Cameron. We have, I think Justin definitely needs to be an otter because of the otter thing. So Anthony is the sheriff and his spirit animal is the mouse. So what do I get?
One could argue I'm already an otter.
Mr. Otter Otterson, my guys.
Mr. Otter Otterson. Present and live.
We did that once.
It's me, Mr. Otterson.
I love we did that bit once and we've never done it again, but it's still one of the favorite videos I've worked on.
Yeah, the next Oscars. Mr. Otterson's
Oscars.
The next Oscars are right around the corner.
Yeah, just another year.
And we'll make that next video. Holds me to it.
Oh boy, how about you, Seb? What's new with you, my friend?
Okay, so now you're moving on again, not answering my question. Which animal do I get? But sure, I mean, I just tell my weeklies, and then you can think for that time.
That's actually fair because I have no idea. Everyone, think of an animal while Seb does explain.
Ostrich.
Hi. So basically, I am finally done with my last week of getting up at 4 a.m. to go to work, and after that, it's only 8 to 4 or later. So yeah, finally, I can sleep in a bit more. Damn, this sounds right. Yeah. Otherwise, not pretty much. Wanted to go to the cinema, couldn't because too busy. Was a bit sick in between. Otherwise, yeah, I took a lot of photos and videos, so yeah, like of other people or stuff. Was fun.
Give me a moment. I'm keep talking, Seb.
Yeah. Now you don't see me. Pictures.
All right, Seb. Now that you're on screen, we get a big visual reaction.
Those eyes
to our pitch in which I say you are a tiger.
Ooh, I could see that.
But a very domesticated one.
Excuse me. What
I
is
have a
that
video.
supposed to mean?
I have a visual presentation to share.
Okay, whenever you're ready. There you go. Yay!
Yeah!
The new Shannon Jackson guys. Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you.
What animal are you, Seb?
I just said it, and I was
Fine.
correct.
We're going with teddy bear. All right, I guess.
He said tiger.
We're going with tiger. We're going with domesticated tiger.
Wait.
I just want to say that Justin said something and Cameron just went straight over it and said something completely different, not even acknowledging it again. I really, after Justin, now that you made me aware of it, I can't unsee the bigger picture.
I guess.
Cameron, a podcast
And I mean,
environment
being in relations with Cameron is always about bigger pictures.
and sometimes 4 medium-sized pictures on the screen.
Yeah. No, I just
I mean, you have to
moving
respect each and
big screen
every
pictures.
picture on screen equally. Podcasting is about the interpersonal connections and the back and forth. You gotta go tit for tat, so to speak.
Tit for tats.
This is why we never stay at an hour and always go to an hour and a half.
This is why we go an hour and a half.
Right.
But I could see you being a panda, Seb.
That's true.
Whoa!
Yeah.
2 cents.
I see myself there. But the question is,
Tiger
could
Panda.
I also really give off the vibes of a Kung Fu Panda? So let's go and talk about the movie.
Your
Actually, we have other
connection
things to
just
talk
blew
about.
my heckin' minds.
You guys totally skipped over me.
Yeah, this is how it feels, Cameron. Do you like it?
I don't know. I think the audience wants to know the cool updates that we have for them that I worked on over the past few days. Just saying.
You don't get a vote
Cameron,
in this.
What did you do over the past 2 weeks?
So we have 2 fun updates. The first one being that we will, after this episode, we're going to change our time. We're going to be starting 2 hours later every other Sunday. So starting at noon at Eastern Standard Time and around 6 p.m. over in Germany. We want to give our American friends a little bit of rest, and we are really excited to do it a little bit later so that everyone kind of is a little bit more energized. But also, we are officially now on everywhere you can get your podcast. So if you want to listen to us on the go, if you're like, hey, I don't want to do this live, I just want an audio file to listen to. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, like wherever you guys are listening to your podcasts, we put it up every other week. Those are not live, but they usually go up right after. The first 4 episodes are already up, and the 5th one, which is today, we will do later. Yay!
Hooray!
What are you? Oh,
So, are we going to be so available to listen to, all over the place?
all over the place.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to stream myself on every platform all at the same time on different devices. And I'm going to be able to hear Anthony's voice so many times all at once.
Thank you.
And others.
And others. Cameron and Seb. Seb's back.
Especially Seb.
That was-
Now
I
that
love
Seb's back.
I love the light that's making it impossible to see.
I closed the blinds and it still doesn't help. But if I close them at all, it's just too dark.
The sun's strong. What's up with
Yeah.
that? Even though it's so far away, that's
It's just
bananas.
literally setting in that direction. So but if I okay.
Whoa.
Well, if you keep your hand there, the whole podcast, you capturing the sun. That's impressive.
I feel like you're Halo, like your Master Chief, just manipulating.
Yeah, my spirit animal's an angel.
Wow.
You are one, Seb. You are one.
So what happens next, host Cameron Spector?
Host me. What about the film of the week?
Oh, Perfect, Anthony. Give us the film of the week song.
Ba-dum-bum, da-da-dum, ba-dum-dum, da-da-dum. Ba, 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 da, da, da. Kung Fu Panda 4.
Oh, it changes every week. I almost forgot that that's how that always works every time we do it.
Yeah.
That's great. That's perfect. Leads right in. Or do they always end with Kung Fu Panda 4? That's another option.
Yeah, it goes to the Kung Fu Panda 4. So, how did you like Mission Impossible 17?
Mood.
Never seen it.
So, first we need to do some shaming.
Shame
This
of the week.
little
Mhm.
comment right there. Love that for you.
Always the best, Beth. Always the best.
We need to make Seb big for a second because someone didn't watch Kung Fu Panda 4.
Oh.
I don't need to watch it. We all just declared that I'm already a panda. So, like, literally, I don't need to do my research. I know. Come
Normally,
on.
I'd agree with you, Seb, because you're incredibly funny and I like you. But I did 3 movies of prep for this, so I can't forgive this behavior.
The only day I had actually time to go to the movies and even asked another person, they were like, yeah, but I would have to watch part 3 first. And I was like, okay, cool, but I'm not going on my own so late in the evening because like that's just awful and I would only do it with another person. So the only time that I actually had time to do it, I was like, yeah, I can't be asked to do it alone. So yeah, I mean, I kind of had one slot where I could do it, and that was kind of not working.
Tisk.
I would like, as punishment, and this I think should become the standard punishment, Seb is going to have to give a thorough review of the movie without seeing it, and just let us know, assumedly, what happened in it.
I'm down for that.
I mean, I've seen the trailers.
Okay, great. Let's get it going. No huge spoilers, though. You know, we're not in the spoiler corner yet.
Yeah. Okay.
For this movie you haven't seen,
Floor's yours.
have at it.
Oh, like right now. Okay. So, we all know that there's this panda, that basically is he the, what's the title again? Is he the, he's some
Dragon
kind of
warrior.
Oh yeah, Dragon Warrior. I was like, is he the master of the dragon? But that wasn't the word for it. But yeah, he's the Dragon Warrior, and basically, so he's very cool. And well, as there's part 4, there's just again another vicious bad guy coming up on the screen, and he basically is like, you aren't worthy, I am the better guy. And then they fight kung fu style, and then they get out all the old pals of the Dragon Warrior, and then they fight together. And basically he comes to the realization that he needs to better himself and be even more stronger, and then everyone's happy at the end.
I would say there was.
I mean, you said no spoilers.
No, and I think that's great. I want to make one request. Can you reveal one big spoiler-worthy moment? Just one.
One of the good people turned bad.
Oh my god, really? That's bananas. Well, Seb has a big brain.
That was a pure guess, but I think from what I remember of the trailers, that is something that felt like it.
I feel ya. So now we get to build up a scenario of either proving or debunking the Seb edition of Kung Fu Panda 4. And I think that really lays down the floor. But first, we'll get the general vibes and reviews. That's what the segment's called, right? Vibes and reviews.
I thought what?
Where we talk about what did we like? Did we like the movie?
Loved it.
That's where we usually start, right? Am I crazy?
Yeah.
No, you're not.
It's fun. We had
fun. It's a movie you put on to make you smile.
You know what? We watched it at 9:00 at night. It was a time.
It was a time. You watch it, you smile, you laugh a little bit, you learn some life lessons about dumplings, about peach pits, and what other life lessons were there?
More violence.
More violence. That's right. Yes.
I
That's
thought
what these are. Life lessons.
so. Kung Fu Panda is very interesting because it's kind of the Phineas and Ferb of of the cinematic animation experience. A little less in your face about it, but every movie does follow a very similar structure of like, especially the sequels, which are what's really in my brain because I haven't seen the first one in at least a year. But it's very, Poe, you're gonna have to learn this lesson in the movie. And Poe's like, what? Sometimes he's excited, sometimes he's less excited. But whether it's you need to learn inner peace, either you gotta learn the power of chi, or you gotta learn to kinda move on from your position, but also it's more of setting up that you're moving on from your position. And we're not gonna fully explore that. There's you always gotta get his dad freaking out that he's going on a little quest, and in the last two movies he follows him and and whatnot. But this time he has two dads following him. What? Which is pretty. They got past the censors on that one, if you know what I mean.
Hey, they did pretty good for a panda and a goose. They did pretty good. They broke a whole restaurant.
It was kind of awesome.
That's not much of a spoiler, so
yeah, it's good. I think we'll get to plenty more of the deets, but while it's maybe my least favorite of this this fun trilogy nightly event that I had, it was still pleasant. I mean, I think it the last couple movies really brought this emotional core to the movie that it's kind of there here. I think we speed through some of the what could be more emotional bits. We had already a chat about Act 1, but we could jump back into that. But overall, it was a neat time. But yeah, take it away, Cameron. Talk more with me.
I think this movie felt very rushed at times, which it felt like you were trying to cram like an hour 45 into an hour and a half or something like that. And, there's those 15 minutes of extra just beats would have been very nice.
Mm-hmm.
We all had fun. There were some cute little jokes in there. We know what we're what you're coming into it, that it's Jack Black making jokes.
Yes and no. I mean, if you watch the past few movies, I think you're coming in expecting second movie, you might some people come out of that one with a few tears. This one, it's
I don't think
much
it was a
more
deep
playful
film.
romp.
Yeah, it wasn't super deep of a film, but I think the interesting section of what it means to having to evolve as a person is an interesting plot line for us. What's with the
I think they talk about it more than they explore it, especially on the villain side. These movies are pretty well known for having really exciting villains, and I guess I'll wait to talk about it more in spoilers section. But there's talk about. So there's talk about you gotta change without actually saying what that would mean for people. Change is a big theme in this one, and I would have enjoyed tapping into it a little bit more.
I think though the movie's more about the acceptance of change, right? Accepting that you have to move
It
on.
happens.
You know what I mean? Accepting that you might not like the last hurrah and that like what it means to be like, all right, this is the last event.
It's like
No,
it's like Toy Story 2, how it ends with one day Andy's gonna grow up and we're in this moment, we are accepting that. But it's not Toy Story 3 yet, where he has grown up and we have to live in that reality.
Right.
That's kind of where this movie's functioning right now.
Now we just compared Kung Fu Panda to Toy Story, which could be considered sacrilege, but that's a different story for a different day.
Storytelling, baby.
You know, it was fun. Some good acting and voice acting and some good animation. I thought
It's good, dude.
it's good news. Anthony, you've been awfully quiet.
Yeah. Yes, I have been. I was gonna say, like, I get what Justin's saying. Like, they could have emphasized a lot more in the storyline, give more details about like him changing and Poe changing and him going on his life, because it was very much like mentioned on a surface level, but not like in depth. It's very much like, this is the issue. I'm not gonna spoil too much, but we're not spoiling much, but this is the issue of what has to happen at the end, and he's just progressing, but there's no dip up and down. You know what I mean? Like, even the second act, it's predictable. You know what was gonna happen the whole time. But it's also a kids movie, and you watch it to make you happy, laugh, and hear Jack Black's beautiful voice.
Truth.
Like, I love it.
Truth right there.
You know, like when I think of Kung Fu Panda, I think of going to movies with my uncle, seeing the first one when I was a kid.
Yeah. So now that we've hit on all those surface level things, just like their exploration of change, I think it's time we hit the spoiler section. Cameron and I coordinated that just now on
100%.
purpose.
Proud of you guys.
Because I feel like if you're watching at this point, you've probably seen this movie. Let's actually talk about it instead of beating around the bush.
There's no climax.
That's true.
That's what
The
she
big
said.
fight doesn't seem that big.
It didn't. It was
I think
20 minutes the whole movie.
It's what?
It
Would
was
you say?
cool. The fighting scene's 20 minutes the whole movie, and it's just him walking up a flight of stairs, which he's also like at it. Like, I feel like this man should be able to go through things like nothing after 4 movies, but this man's still struggling up a flight of stairs. What's up with that?
Stairs have always been
Yes,
the biggest
the
rival.
suit.
I mean, that's pretty core to the character, you see.
Fair.
No, I mean, yeah, that's fair. I think, well, most important thing right off the bat, we got to establish, was Seb's big spoiler correct?
No.
Somewhat.
The answer is, I was gonna go yes. It gets reversed, but it is a key point to the movie. Poe is on this grand adventure. Should we like in the non-spoiler section? Should we talk about what this movie's about in the future?
Yes, we should.
But
I mean, yes, please. I'd like to know what it's about.
So, this movie is about Poe. He's a Kung Fu Panda, and he's not with his usual the Furious 5 team today. They're off on their own mini adventures off screen, I guess. But this movie, he teams up with a sly criminal fox named Zhen to take down the Chameleon, a villain that could shapeshift into any form. It's kind of cool. It's very you've seen this guy before, and you've seen this guy before. Feel the nostalgia yet? But there are cool beats with it. The transformations of the transformations. It could kind of look cool. Yeah, it's neat. But what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, this is a little off topic, but I feel like a lot of animated films make foxes thieves. Because in Zootopia, wasn't the fox also a thief?
Yeah.
More of a con man than a thief, but in that same realm. Yeah.
That's the old trope of foxes. It always has it.
But there was
Even in
commentary on the fox being like kind of pushed into that life, whereas this is more like, she grew up on the streets. The streets are rough. There are 3 rules of the streets.
Yes. Do you remember what
3?
the are?
The 3 rules of the streets are: don't trust anyone, someone always gets hurt, and no one cares about your feelings. Stupid. It's facts. Facts don't care no one bit.
Fact, don't care
About your
no one bit. You're not wrong.
But I'll continue through the story. I'll speed on through. Poe has been tasked with declaring who should be the new Dragon Master, or Dragon Warrior. Sorry, Dragon Warrior to succeed him. He's like, "But I want to be the Dragon Warrior." It's like, no. You were given a big stick, so you can't be the Dragon. Master Turtle. What's the turtle's name again?
Is it Uguay?
Uguay, yes.
Yeah, it's Uguay.
I'm so bad with names. Master Uguay has determined that you are his successor, and he was the spiritual leader, not the punchy guy. He can do the punches, but he was, the spiritually. You gotta succeed him now, like basically now. No time to waste. I know you're pretty young, Poe, but you gotta get right on this. So he ditches
Uguay
out on.
dead.
Huh?
Uguay is dead.
Yeah, but there's no. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think Master Shifi would make a perfectly good Uguay. Point being, though,
He's not at all salty about it.
he's not at all. So that's why we need a movie about him. Well, we could talk about that later. I have so many things, so many specific little things. Poe kind of ditches out on choosing who's going to be the next Dragon Warrior because he's kind of just not feeling it, and instead gets really excited about doing one last big adventure, which by the end of the movie doesn't seem like it has to be the last big adventure. But anyway, he goes on one last big adventure with Zhen to take down the chameleon who shapeshifted into the first movie's villain to kind of scare some people. And then Jen's like, no, that's actually the chameleon. And Poe goes, how do you know that? And Jen goes, because I'm a good guy. Anyway, they go on a big trip together. Yeah, go on.
No,
Okay.
I'm just emphasizing good guy.
Good guy.
Continue.
So they go on this big, fun, cool adventure together. And they destroy a restaurant and they run from the cops as one does when you're a hot panda. And don't go. And then they get to the chameleon's place and she's all like, Poe, we're more alike than you think. I got a backstory in which people think I'm small and can't learn Kung Fu because I'm tiny. Just ignore all the other characters in the movie that are smaller than me that learn Kung Fu. So I turned to sorcery instead. And she's like, you've been underestimated too. And it's like, well, that's not really relevant to this movie, but it did happen. It has happened in the past. And then Poe gives Zhen the stick to help him, the magical stick that Uguay gave him, of course. What was the something of wisdom, the staff of
Spiritual
wisdom
wand. I thought, staff of wisdom. Yeah,
staff of wisdom. Hands it to Zhen, and Zhen's like, hands to chameleon. Zhen was evil? Zhen was evil all along? Seb was right? Seb knows everything. We all know this.
100%.
I just Googled the movie but didn't watch it or something like that.
Big brain. And then, Poe's two dads, the adopted dad, the biological dad, they follow him there. They help pick him up after Chameleon tries to throw him off a cliff and kill him. They all team on up and bring in Zhen. Zhen goes, oh, this makes me sad because Poe actually believes in me and I have a change of heart now. They she and Poe's parents and Poe then team up with a bunch of criminals criminals running the underground of the city. And they join together to face the chameleon army. To face it, yes. And the chameleon's like pulling all sorts of, using the staff to pull all sorts of dudes from the spirit world, some of which we've seen before, to steal their kung fu.
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah, to see their
Like,
moves.
But
they're
then
like-
they can't really do their moves anymore. I guess Kung Fu is in this universe, and I didn't know till now. This Kung Fu is a thing within you, as opposed to, I guess, when you're a sorceress. These things can happen. You can make up your own rules as you go. Kung Fu is a thing you could pull from a person, and then they don't have the Kung Fu anymore. But now the chameleon has all the powers, all the Kung Fu, pew pew pew. But then Poe figures out how to punch her. But along the way, he allows Zhen to kind of finish the job of doing the fighting because he believes in her and wanted to give her a push. And they skadoosh on their way together and beat the chameleon. And then Poe's like, "That's my next dragon warrior." Which, I mean, it's a shame that the way that the movie functions. Like, I saw the trailer, saw that this character existed. I didn't really remember much of the trailer, but I remembered that character existed. So the moment Master Shifu is like, "You need a successor to be the Dragon Warrior," I'm like, "Oh, so it's gonna be it's the fox, I guess." But there weren't many other options. I guess it wasn't really meant to be a mystery, right? It is only the big culminating element of this.
I think it
movie,
makes
but-
sense in the face of that how Uguay chose the Dragon Warrior is the same way that
Yeah.
that
Well,
Poe
Uguay
did, and it's like
pointed.
his
And
fears
then-
repeating itself, and Shifu bless his soul. Love that man.
The patience
Like,
is like
the fox.
The fox. He deserves so much better than the life he's
Give that
been
actor.
living.
Who was that? That's Dustin Who is that? Who is
But
that?
Hoffman, yeah.
It's Hoffman. That man should get an Oscar for this.
This should win Best Animation Film of 2025. Yes.
Next year, Oscars 2025 prediction.
Sure. Well,
Yeah, sure. Let's give Kung Fu Panda an Oscar.
I think the
you know what?
last.
Shrek has an Oscar, so you know what? All
Yeah,
bets
but
are
Shrek
off.
is an icon.
Yeah, I mean that's like there's people still gathering for festivals every year.
Yeah, I'm just looking up now. Which Kung Fu Pandas have been nominated so far? I feel like
Probably
have they
none.
all been? Just the first.
None of them.
No,
Don't tell me.
The first two have been nominated.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, who they lose out to?
The first one lost to Wally. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
First,
Like
And the second one lost to Rango. I haven't seen Rango, but Kung Fu Panda 2 is kind of the best one. It's
Rango
really,
is
really
one.
good. Oh no,
I
sorry.
also
Wait.
I also get why Rango won
Oh, yeah.
because like it's literally a Western movie but like animated.
Yeah, I hear it's really good. I haven't seen it. DreamWorks had 2 movies that year. It also had the first Puss in Boots movie, which I hear.
Which is basically a Shrek movie.
Yeah, it's in the Shrek franchise. I haven't seen. That's the one Shrek movie that I haven't seen. The first Puss in Boots movie. Okay. Is this one getting nominated? I'd be surprised. But honestly, it's probably not going to be. If DreamWorks is only getting one, it's probably going to end up being what's the robot movie called?
Oh, the one
We had a trailer for that as well.
I need to pause this for a second because we have a story and 2 comments. Are you guys ready?
I love
Please.
stories.
Comment number 1.
Hi, everybody. Happy Easter. I did not see the movie yet.
Comment number 2.
Hi, me neither.
Above was Jacqueline's spectre. I cannot type on my phone. It's all coming together.
Comment in 2 pieces.
So the basic thing is that your dad typed a comment that your mom didn't see the movie yet.
Yes.
When is she coming to Germany again?
With me.
Oh,
Yay!
today.
So technically, if you really want to punish me,
I'm
we
not
can
going to go
still go see the
Panda
movie.
4 again. If you want to go with her, go right ahead. I am not going to see this movie again. I have other movies in my
wasn't
queue that
that
I'd rather see.
I was gonna say, like, you sound like very unhappy about the experience of watching that movie.
It was fine.
It's okay.
It's
That
not
sounds like a
overpowered.
total 2.7 out of 10, saying like it was fine, but I'm not seeing it again.
It was good. It was above average.
Like a
But
2.5.
you know what? We're getting into April.
I
and
said
April-
2.7. You just made it worse.
What?
We're getting
I
into
said
April.
2.7, and Anthony said 2.5. So he literally just made the rating worse.
I basically like April is gearing up to be so many good movies, like interesting movies coming out. I'd rather go see those. And no, I'm not saying Kong Godzilla is one of those, even though I know said we are going to go see that.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to see that for very different reasons, not because it's going to be good.
Just like we saw Beekeeper for the Boom Boom Pew Pew factor.
We did see Beekeeper for that series.
Honestly, such a funny experience, and
It was
literally
so
like
much fun.
yeah, like it was good fun. It was nothing like rememberable, but like it was fun.
I do not condone day drinking, but I feel like for Kong we need to do some day drinking.
Don't we watch that at night?
No, it's at noon.
You should.
Oh, I thought it was 8 p.m. or something.
No, it's 12.
Has some big.
What's the age rating in Germany for that movie?
I don't know. What is it? 12, I guess. Or is it 6?
Okay, because I believe the last Godzilla was 16 at least, like from the last trilogy.
Oh, from not -1. You talking?
No, the first one of the old, like the 2014 or what it was, because that's the last one I saw in cinemas. I mean I saw the others, but that's the one where I know that I saw it in cinemas.
Anyway, I think we should rate the movie.
We didn't say anything during the spoiler section except recapping what happens.
There's not really much to say.
Did you say that there was no climax?
That is true.
There was no climax. It was kind
Yeah,
of
so like
The first
and
act
then,
was
like-
really fast. The second
Yeah.
act exists. We find
Yeah.
out that Jin was the bad guy, or was the apprentice the bad guy all along,
which is kind of predictable.
which is the only big twist in this movie. There is no other twist.
Yeah.
which is
I guess
kind of
maybe
a simile.
the Dragon Warrior might be, but like
I guess when he
predictable
offers that-
twists.
I think isn't that kind of like a Star Wars kind of thing where like because there's this backstabbing thing where the apprentice of a Sith Lord becomes the new bigger person, and
Sit
By
don't get along.
change-
Yeah, go on.
there's the principle of the two, and because and there's always like a master and a thing, and like they only work together as long as they need to, and then they mostly betray each other. That's why
Yeah.
the Sith fell, and that's why they didn't really work out until basically the Vader and Sidious started to work together. But to go into Star Wars that deeply, basically, by being the
that didn't last all
apprentice-
that long either, so
yeah, no, but like still, I mean, in the end, the good just won. But the same is here. Like the apprentice trained with someone who was very skilled, and therefore built up all the potential to, in the end, become the good hero. So it's like,
that's
if
true.
there wouldn't have been the bad training, there would haven't even been potential for the fox to be the dragon warrior.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm still saying it's predictable.
Out of good, out of evil, there can still arise good.
That's
or
I think literally
Whatever the turtle would say.
Poe basically is like there's always good, or you can always go good or whatever. Good time.
There are no bad dumplings in the soup.
Okay, so
There could be some dumplings in the soup.
since it's not just a series of are there twists or are there not twists, I'm going to discuss. I feel pretty iffy about this concept that Poe needs to become this spiritual successor, or at least right away, and be looking for a dragon warrior successor to work under him. I'm like, I feel like if he's the one in charge and Uguay's entrusting him, I don't know why he's not able to make his own decisions and why Shifu is still able to be like, no, 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 no. You got to do it my way, which is Uguay's way. He's not here to say that right now. So I'm I'm just deciding what Uguay wants right
I would
now.
kind of chalk it down to tradition, right? Like this is like this whole entire film, this whole entire series is a lot of like you have the tradition of this
Okay,
thing.
but say that. Say this is what always happens. Say, the moment you hold the staff is the moment you need to start the transitional process to not be the defender of our world anymore. By the way, even though you're the most helpful person in being the defender of the world, no, 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 no. You need to, sit peacefully under a tree forever. Like I mean, I want that to be a discussion. I thought that we were going to dissect that a little bit more.
You thought too much of a DreamWorks film.
No, I just saw the second and third ones. Like the second movie, like is like has an incredible emotional core to it. That's like, like it fully dissects its story about where you're gonna deal with this conflict of um how you follow in the footsteps of your parents and how you see them and tragedy that happens in your past and how you deal with that conflict, and Poe goes through it and the villain goes through it, and the conflict really hits because you're seeing a struggle from two different perspectives, and when they clash it makes sense. And then this movie happens and Poe's just like, the chameleon, you gotta understand that change is okay. And then he's like, I know you change on the outside, but what about the inside? And I'm like, change to what? Like, what change is she not accepting right now? Like, I don't like, I don't, I don't know what we're doing. I understand. I think Poe learning that change is okay. It's fine. A lot of it just kind of comes from him being like, I'm a little bummed out. Change is happening, and those two parents go, well, change is okay. And I'm not really seeing a lot of like him learning throughout his adventure that change.
Do we know, are these new writers? Is this a new writing team that's doing this movie?
So it's been a long time since the last movie. That much I could say.
I'm pretty sure. Is there a new writing team? Look that up.
I feel bad ragging on it because I like to be a positive little guy. Skadoosh.
Yeah.
But everything you're saying is valid. There's no like I said before, there's no climax. There's no there's this thing that Poe needs to learn to change, but there's no context behind the journey of him changing. He stays the same until like the last 30 minutes of where it kind of just clicks, but we don't see it where it clicks in until Jen betrays him. But even when that happens, it's kind of like him just realizing and accepting this is the new fate I have to do, and because I lost the staff of wisdom, I am hurting everything that I swore to protect.
But isn't Jen like betraying him like halfway through the movie? Is that the halfway point?
About that.
Yeah, about it.
A lot of fluff in between the last fight and the betrayal.
I have one thing I want to. Here's the thing. I don't want to be nitpicky, so I'm gonna give a compliment first and then move on to my next thing. But you reminded me of something. My happy thing is Captain Fish in the mouth of the pelican. That was filmmaking genius right there. I love really that funny guy. We're besties now. Complaint is, and this might be me being really stupid, I didn't know the Staff of Wisdom was a valuable tool until it was in the villain's hands. Am I silly for that? Because it's built up as an important item throughout the movie. It keeps getting brought up in conversation, but at no point did I ever even consider the concept that power exists within the staff. Because both at the end of the last movie and this movie, Poe, like, it lights up and he does a cool thing with it, but my impression, based off of the context of, especially the last movie, the last movie involves Poe learning to be a teacher and learning to imbue himself with the power of chi, and that's the energy that he often wields with the staff. But I always thought that's something that came purely from within him, but then is visually externalized with the staff. Throughout this movie, he swings around the staff. There's one scene in the restaurant where he actually does a cool visual thing with the staff. The villains get the staff and are like, ha ha ha, we're going to use this to open the spirit world's portal and do the cool spirit things. I'm like, the staff could do that? I feel like it's a little late to be learning this information, but I could be stupid. I could be so dumb. Little brain. So I was curious what you thought on that.
I agree with you because you only see Poe do the little dragon thing, this kadoosh. There is no, you're right, there's no context of, I guess maybe if you watch the other movies, like I remember the third one, Master Oogway did the turtle thing, but even that's so similar to the dragon thing that Poe does, where like, yeah, no.
I assumed it came from within.
Poe
Maybe
does
it's
not
both.
know, or like you think it's just story exposition did not
He
work.
knew at the end, so how can you know at the end and not at the beginning?
Because like he knows how to use the staff to bring him back into the realm.
Unless he just chose not to do it, but then that should have been like written better.
The whole movie should have been written better, but that's a different comment for a different day.
Yeah,
I think Cameron is just really not a fan of the movie.
I had fun.
It's a happy watch.
The thing that I'm, as someone who didn't completely see it now, but listening to all you things is, so basically he was looking for a successor for the Dragon Warrior.
He was.
And by that, he is somewhat taking over tasks from Master Oogway, who's absent.
Well, Master Oogway hasn't been in the movies for a while, I think, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, but basically, like he's taking the steps that normal. Like,
at the beginning and end
he's doing the work that Master Oogway did to find him, basically. But the thing is, if there's gonna be a successor, a new Dragon Warrior, like he is not taking over the position from Shifu, but he's also not going to be the next Oogway because he's not that spiritual wisdom guy. So what I'm now thinking, like, if there's gonna be a new Dragon Warrior, and he's no longer the Dragon Warrior because if there's a successor, then he has to step down, which is kind of stupid because like the old Dragon Warrior just stopped existing before him, like died or whatever. So like, is that then the end of the franchise? Did they kill off the franchise of Kung Fu Panda by making someone else Dragon Warrior?
I thought yes, but Justin says no.
Or is the next one basically going to be about him training someone else? Because I feel like until now, it was always about his growth becoming better. And now he becomes the trainer, which at that point, he'd be Shifu.
Yes and no. I mean, well, he's already been ahead of Shifu for a while, but
yeah, just because he's ahead in skill set doesn't mean he's a good trainer.
Episode. Movie 3 is about him learning to be a teacher. That is actually a big conflict for him in the third movie. But you could argue with how essential that is for him as a lesson. But now movie 5 is going to be him learning to teach Jen and go on some other sort of big adventure. I know whoever, some high level person on the team had mentioned that the goal early on was 6 movies. And I at this point I could see that. And if the first 3 are Poe at the core, and the second group of 3 is Poe and Jen at the core, could work, could make sense. And these movies culminate in Poe as spiritual leader. That sounds interesting. You get a full 6 movie span of a story. I brought up the compliment of Fish so that I could feel better about what I'm going to say next, and that's second and third movies have great sequences of like Wow, visual splendor, animation be going off here. We're trying a new style or something crazy's going on. Did you feel that during this movie? Did any one particular sequence stand out to you, make you go, "Whoa, this is a feast for the eyes"?
Nothing new.
No.
Without even seeing it,
Film by James.
I'd say it was basically like the last three, maybe a bit better image quality, but otherwise,
In terms
like
of
the last
the
three.
basic look of characters and whatnot, right?
Yeah. Like the rendering quality and everything, because like tech gets better, but otherwise, I think
Sure. I'm
from
thinking
what
like
I've seen from the
stylized
trailers,
sequence- yeah.
like the others.
I'm thinking about like stylized or more, not experimental, but like, things that are changing up the visual style or any like fight sequences that are like particularly like euphoric in their movement. I
Nah.
like the third movie starts out with one of my favorite action sequences of the whole thing and really establishes this villain as a tremendous force. And this movie, the villain was like, she's a little mean she's a little mean person. She's a little the transforming can occasionally be cool.
I thought it was basic.
I think it was
I
cool,
think-
but I think I was not like blown away. You know what I mean?
No. It was standard for a 2024 film.
I thought you just said it's standard
That's
for an A24 film, and I went, that makes no sense. And then I realized it's A24.
Next compliment, Aquafina as Jen kinda rocked it. I really liked the
I liked her
performance.
character.
I think the voice is just pleasant. Ping, he's always funny. Remember, he told the bad guys that he was Poe's father, and they were gonna put him in a little soup, and it was a little chuckle. And he's just a funny little guy. Oh, actually, Poe's panda dad, Lee, pretending that he's even scarier than Poe. That was a funny sequence in that same scene. Tai Long came back and he had quite a few lines, and the other two villains had no lines that were from past movies.
I feel like they did this to make it a full circle back to the first one.
Yeah, just in time for the franchise to end. Except they're probably going to do more movies.
Yeah.
But the question is, would they still call it Kung Fu Panda? Or would they make it?
Yeah, it's gonna be about Jack Black or about Poe. Like it's always
It'll
gonna
still be about.
him.
Yeah, it's not like he dies at the end or quits fighting at the end. He's just like, oh well, I'm still the Dragon Warrior, but I have a successor picked out, which is it's interesting because the beginning of the movie, especially if you've just seen the last few movies are like, you're gonna learn to do this, and by the end of the movie, Poe's like, I've learned this. The start of this movie is like, you're gonna become the spiritual successor and no longer be the Dragon Warrior, and the end of this movie is like, he's kind of like halfway there now. He's kind of accepted that it will happen. It's the first time we're introduced.
Part one,
huh?
Are we saying this is part one?
A little bit. I'm seeing this as a part one of the back half of this 6-movie franchise. I don't know if it's for sure if it's going to be 6, but the way it's set up, I could totally see that being the case, where next movie is about training Zhen, and then the 6th movie is Zhen is this powerful warrior now.
And so him letting go.
Now that it's...
Which one of you? Say the words. You got this. I believe in you.
Seb, please.
But now that it's about more than Poe and also about Jen, maybe instead of naming it Kung Fu Panda, name it Kung Fox Panda or something. Like, to give the Fox more play. Because like, if the whole franchise until now was about the Dragon Warrior, and now there's a new Dragon Warrior, is it like really still about the panda?
It still will be about Poe learning to be this mentor figure. I can't see a scenario in which they change the title from Kung Fu Panda because branding, like people. This movie did make money. Like, let's not forget that. It's because it's a recognizable name. I think, yeah, I understand Kung Fu insert animal here, is still gonna be, people
Yeah, but
can
Kung Fu
connect the dots.
Fox is not that good
People
because
can
to
connect
X.
the dots, but there's not a chance that they're not gonna, that they're gonna be like, oh, we don't want immediate recognizability. They want it to be as clear as day that this is the same franchise. That's how the studio is going to work on this. But also, I still think Poe's going to continue to be the main character. Would be my assumption. I don't know for a fact, but that would be my assumption.
I would say. Let's rate the movie, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
30 minutes later.
I'm sorry that we're going to talk about a movie during the movie podcast. Is that a problem? Is that a problem? No, we gotta get right to giving it a number. That's the value we as a podcast are bringing to the table here. You want numbers, right? Now I feel obligated to speak a little longer because of the big I'm the big box right now, and I'm doing this with my hands. I think if I give it a 2.78 out of 100, I'll really establish myself as a big galaxy brain thinker, and the audience will come back and subscribe for more numbers.
What is this podcast?
How did that look? I froze, but I couldn't see how I looked when I
That
froze.
was pretty good. That was
Thank you.
Pretty great.
Justin, you should be the actor of the next film.
Thank you. I do like acting. I think I'm a better voice actor than an actor, but I'll give it my best try. So what number are you giving the movie?
I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5.
Yay!
I'm gonna agree with that.
Cameron, what number are you going to give the movie?
2.5 out of 5.
Yay! Seb, what number are you going to give the movie?
From what I've heard from you, I give it okay, I definitely can't. I definitely can't hold up a card with chopsticks. But the card said a 4, but since it's falling down apparently, and I just have 2 chopsticks, I give it a 2.
Yay!
0.5 because there was a card, but it's somewhat not there. So yeah, I wanted to give it a 4, but fate said 2.
All right, everyone. I'm going to give Kung Fu Panda 4 a Kung Fu Panda 4 out of 4.1.
Wow.
Wow. You give it a 4 out of 4.1?
Exactly.
So it's a 98.
So it's nearly perfect.
I don't have this movie transformed me as a person.
I don't know if he's trolling, guys.
The chameleon transforms herself as a person on the outside, and Poe transforms himself as a person on the inside.
He doesn't really transform himself on the inside. He just preaches stuff.
And then
he accepted that he will transform on the inside in a later movie.
Okay, the whole thing that you were going. Anyway, so Anthony has a debt to pay.
Yeah, let me get my phone.
Seb, can we get the Anthony has a debt to pay song?
Wait a second. Anthony has a debt to pay.
That sounds delightful, though.
Yeah, and the ukuleles are also missing a string.
Ooh, fancy.
A month ago, maybe a little less than a month ago, Justin, maybe more than a month ago, not Justin, Cameron asked me to create a Letterboxd account. And I said I will. And then he asked me again. And I said I will. Then he asked me again. And then I said I will. And then last night after the movie, he goes, Anthony, do you have Letterboxd? And I said, no, I'll do it live on the podcast. And you know what he said? I'm going to hold you to that. So that's exactly what we're doing.
Oh,
wait.
As normally, Justin doesn't have a say in things. Can we?
I actually have an account.
Yay!
hey, but as normally Justin doesn't have a say in things according to Cameron. Now that he forgot that he had an account, but we were making him an account.
I said.
No. You now don't have a say. Can we now do you have usernames on Letterboxd?
Yeah.
It's
So can we now decide his username on Letterboxd?
Oh, you want
Like, because he already has an account, but we have to influence something about this, so now we got to give him a username, like something funny.
But he already has a username, no?
Yeah, but you can change it.
Can you?
Can't
Do
you?
you have Letterboxd, Seb?
No.
All right, Seb, you're making Letterboxd.
And I bet to you, I know the thing is, I think I have a letterbox, but I think I literally used it for one movie or something.
Well, you should.
Because we have friends that make me do that.
You should get it more.
Let me open this. I opened this. I find it. And give me 1 second. Let me check my 20 emails and see what I found. Why am I still in the focus? It's still about giving Anthony a username.
Everyone has a debt to pay. Pay that debt.
Okay. What would you guys like to name a username?
7.
7? Okay.
It's decided.
It is now changed to 7.
It's just the number, or is it like 7 spelled out?
What if it? Wait.
7, the number.
To commemorate today, maybe it should be Jen. Thoughts.
Jen
Miss
Thought
Ping.
7. There you go. That's the username. Jen Thought 7.
How do you spell that?
I think
Captain
Jen is
Fish.
ZHEN.
ZHEN. Jen Stan 77. Jen Kisser 77. Jen. Bryan Cranston was in this movie? That's bananas.
What did Bryan Cranston do in this movie?
No, it's Bryan Cranston.
What? He was Poe's Panda Dad.
Nice.
Yeah. All right.
How did you get Viola Davis?
Zen
He's a
Stan
chameleon.
77 is what it's changed to.
Lovely.
Yay!
What? It's Jen what?
Jen Stand as an STAN.
He's a stan of Jen, as we all know.
Oh, fan? Should I do fan? That makes more sense.
I guess.
I'm changing it to fan. ZHEN fan 77.
Cool.
I don't have a profile pic. I'll do that right now.
Can you save it? Because I'm looking for you and I can't find you.
I just did save it. If that doesn't work, try 8 Pro. Maybe I didn't change it.
Yo, did we like the bunnies in that movie?
No. As a bunny owner, that is not how bunnies act.
Really? Well, these were some
bunny
bad.
would
You're right.
never-
These were some bad bunnies. Cameron liked them, though.
They were hilarious.
Cameron liked their violence.
I did like. Can we also point out that they never did the rule of threes, right? They would always do something.
When it's not in
three.
threes, you call it setup and payoff. Duh.
Bless you. Do you think that those jokes had setups and payoffs?
Yeah. Sure. It's called a callback when you don't do rule of threes. It's called a callback. The called back to the earlier part of the movie when it also happens. It's a callback.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You could reply to what I said as well, Cameron. Like a little tit for tat.
I don't know how to reply.
That's a callback, by the way, to earlier in the podcast when I said tit for tat.
You never said tit for tat, though.
I did, actually. And
You did.
Anthony said repeated it right after I said it. I was like, oh, good, that landed. Say something, talk to
Sequels.
me.
Okay. Sequels.
You broke me today. You
we
truly
kinda
broke me
touched
today.
on this a little bit earlier. when
Yeah, so
Justin was talking about 4, 5, 6. Because he's not wrong. There's going to be a 4, 5, 6.
I think
the
I
way
wanted
they
to
did
talk about
This is 4.
sequels more in general because I kind of hope this movie would be better than it was, and then we could talk about good sequels to movies. But I was thoroughly...
And this movie, according to Cameron, sucked so badly that we can't even talk about good sequels. That would be inappropriate for the concept of sequels.
No, I thought it'd be a good transition if it were, but now it's only a mid-transition.
I completely disagree because you could say, hey, I didn't think this was a great sequel, so let's talk about movies that are.
Hey, I don't think this is a great sequel, so let's talk about movies that are...
Hooray!
The
Cameron doesn't
John
think this was a
Wicks,
great sequel
they
to the
are
movie he
amazing
didn't see.
sequels. My hot take. John Wicks are amazing sequels. You got 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, I'd say Titanic 2, definitely a good sequel.
There's no Titanic 2.
Oh yeah, there is.
Like, the boat actually exists.
No, there's a movie called Titanic 2.
Why? No, this isn't real.
There's no way there's
Like, you didn't know that existed?
It came out
No.
in 2010.
This
Right.
sounds vaguely familiar.
Right. He's so right. You can watch it live
No.
on TV.
No.
He's right. There's a Titanic 2.
Oh, boy.
Of course there is. You can make a whole marathon out of it. Movie for the next week, and if you don't watch it,
Do we think that
We're gonna make
sequels
you
are-
sink.
Do we think sequels are necessary, or should we just make original content and not worry about sequels anymore?
We can make original content.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Sweet as always.
We should always just make original content. Screw sequels.
Yeah, I mean, well, it depends. Like if you need the sequel, like Dune, like you need that needs to be sequels.
Yeah, but is that a sequel or is it a second part to the story?
I call it sequels because you're gonna need more than 2.
Because like,
But if it's parts, you gotta put parts. Like Star Wars are sequels.
Right.
Star Trek are sequels.
but dude, it's Dune Part 2.
But Marvel are sequels,
That's true.
and they did it right in the beginning. Now they're falling down. Like the early Marvel is the best Marvel. Now they're okay.
I think the issue being like a good sequel needs to have its own story, but when you've completed a story arc, then like you need to build up why we need to go back to this world. And studios can't be bothered to do a good job at doing that most of the time.
It's very true.
Okay, we got to pause. Earliest Marvel was the best Marvel?
Maybe
Are we
not
saying
early, like
earliest
the-
Marvel?
Not
I
like
think he's
Iron
talking
Man.
about early Disney
Early.
Marvel, so like the first Iron Man up to like the first Avengers.
Yes, maybe.
Well, firstly, that's what I meant. But secondly, if you're saying Disney Marvel, no, you're starting with Iron Man 3, Cameron. Come on. That's when Disney came in. I understand that when we're talking Marvel, we're talking MCU Marvel.
I was referring to as MCU Marvel.
Early because like Iron Man was part of that, Avengers was part of that, but a lot of other movies were part of that first phase also. Let's not.
First and second phase.
Was Thor 1 the biggest hit ever?
No,
Was
I'm not
Incredible
saying
Hulk
all,
the biggest hit ever? That one definitely not.
but compare the ones that were hits compared to the ones now that are supposed to be hits. Do not like besides Spider-Man, do not hit as hard.
I would say the newest Spider-Man is the one good one
Bes-
out of
He
out
said
of these
besides
three.
Spider-Man.
Besides Spider-Man.
Oh, sorry, you said
Spider-Man
besides. Sorry.
and Guardians of the Galaxy 4.
3.
There's been
Three.
no 3. Thank you. No
Sorry.
great Marvel ones.
Well, Ms. Marvel, not Ms. Marvel. Well, that's a show also.
Captain
The
Marvel?
Marvels was okay. Boom.
Thank you, Justin.
I'm not saying the current stuff is super great, but I think in terms of like how often a movie hits, I think it is on par with the first phase, where it's like every other movie ish that
So
is a
what?
good
We're
one.
just have nostalgia bait at this point. Like it's just the nostalgia that's taking us back, or what phase?
I mean,
is your favorite?
phases 2 and 3, especially 3, are pretty phenomenal. Now we're in 5. It's been a bit. Well, are you saying nostalgia is what is that what keeps us going?
No, I think my point being nostalgia is what like brings people like to comments like Anthony, where we're like, even though
Okay.
phase 1 was on par with now phase what we're in 5.
We're in 5, baby. The phases are arbitrary, but it does kind of help in the sense of just being able to give mention to this era without needing to remember what years they existed in. You know, like it's easier to remember phase 3 than remembering that was 2016 to 2019. You know, like
phases
whatever
are
it was.
about the main villain, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Usually references like
I meant referring to the Phase, like the second and third phases when I meant early Marvel. I didn't know there were 5.
Okay,
I
well,
I
yeah, for
thought
second and
Thanos
third,
part of 1.
pop
I did
off.
not know
Yeah,
that. My bad. Did not know all the phases.
sorry. I got a little too specific,
You're good.
perhaps, and you know what? Maybe there needs to be a bit of a truce here, because we could agree that while Marvel doesn't always hit, do you know what it always does?
Kung Fu Panda.
Every Toy Story sequel, guys. They keep
that's
reinventing the wheel and bringing new perspective to what it is to be these toys every single movie. And this might sound like a joke, but it really isn't.
no, it's not.
They keep advancing like what this world means. And it's wild how they craft a movie to do this every single time. Will the 5th one continue to do the same? I'm a little worried. But for what currently exists, it's kind of wild how well they've been able to keep not always necessarily one-upping themselves. You could argue any one of the 4 being the best, and I would understand where you're coming from. And I have heard many arguments for every single one of those 4. But like they always finds a great new perspective. And that's kind of what you need in sequels. And I'm not saying Toy Story is the only franchise to do it, obviously. But I think Toy Story is a great example of you have a world that you always have a new in on, while also being able to tell a very compelling story and sometimes making me cry. So that's my pitch for what a perfect sequel is.
But that doesn't happen often. But I think you're right. I think that is
Well,
the perfect
is the topic should sequels exist, or is it just what is a good sequel? Because I thought, well, ground us, Cameron. What are we looking for right now?
I guess I wrote the perfect sequel. What is the perfect sequel as the topic in our title today? But I think the comment still stands.
What I said.
But I think the comment still stands. It doesn't happen often.
Sure. Yeah. I think some studios are better than others. I think some studios care about that than others. I mean, sequels are a safe bet for studios. That's why it's hard to not name Kung Fu Panda 5 Kung Fu Panda 5. And as opposed to Kung Fu Fox. It kind of has a ring to it though. Kung Fu Fox. As Seb said.
I said that it doesn't have a ring because I think the 2 F's after each other sound unpleasant.
I was just trying to give you something. I mean, but
I think just naming the movie Kung Fox would just be
Kung Fox. That just sounds
Like,
yeah, I mean,
we were talking about Star Wars earlier. Like, you could consider each of the new trilogies a sequel.
And the old trilogy and the old.
I mean,
trilogy.
you're considering the three more modern sequels as the prequels, so I think that's actually what kind of coined the term prequel.
Yeah, but
in the realm of films.
But I think in the same way that a sequel needs to set up a new story, I think the prequel needs to do the same. And
but
we agree that the premise of all three like trilogies are like kind of very similar.
Yeah.
Yes. What? I was reading the Anthony.
He said that the way that the trilogies work, it's basically the same for each of them, even though they're sequels.
Oh, within the Star Wars specifically. Yeah. I thought you meant all trilogies. I was trying to piece together the framework there. And like, I guess often you will have a
I mean, take the Disney
story and then a one with a sad ending, and then
I mean, take the Disney Star Wars trilogy and then take Lord of the Rings. Same vibe, same thing, totally.
I'm not even a fan of the Star Wars prequel trilogy, but I don't think the structure of it is anything like the other two Star Wars trilogies.
Not the prequel, the Disney one, the most modern.
We're just talking that one. Yeah, a wild robot. That'll get the
this
Oscar
trailer.
nom.
I've seen multiple times, and it almost makes me cry every single time. And I
like
the trailer,
just like Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith. You cry every time. Yeah,
because like this is I said this last night while watching the trailers. I was like, this is gonna get nominated for Best Animated Feature.
Yeah, probably will. Yeah,
honestly, it could beat Inside Out too.
Yeah, I too can say things about movies I haven't seen.
That's fair, but it just looks great. You gotta admit,
any movie could beat any movie if it is good. So that is it's a good point. I mean,
but based off of the premise in the trailer, I feel that it looks like a really good movie.
And I really appreciate. If this movie truly is dialogueless, if this movie truly brings the promise of the first third of WALL-E to the full feature length, that would be pretty wild.
We can also say about Garfield that Garfield was a really terrible trailer.
Oh, but it has Chris Pratt.
Did he just hate on Garfield?
Yeah, the Garfield movie does not look great.
Yeah, but it's definitely succeeding at presenting the way it is intended to. I don't even know what studio is Garfield. Actually, for some reason,
Illumination. It looks like Illumination.
I don't think it is.
I don't.
It's Sony.
I don't know if
really.
Sony, really?
Yeah.
So we went from Across the Spider-Verse to Garfield. It's Sony animation.
I can make it even more absurd. Do we count? I don't know if there's a word for it, but do we count animated counterparts to real movies as sequels? So, like, if there's
an example,
the thing that I have is the Grinch. There's the animated version of the Grinch, and many people like it more. I just hate it because I don't think it gives off the same vibes as the real life version does.
Is that a sequel though? Because it's just a remake. Is that what you were going to say, Justin?
No, I wanted to make a correction before we got too far away from the initial point. Garfield is distributed by Sony, but it's not a Sony, animation, unlike Spider-Verse.
But who's the animation?
But then again, is Garfield a sequel? There are so many iterations of Garfield movies.
But those are sequels because it's a new story. The Grinch films are always the same Grinch story, just being retold with different actors and different styles. And
I guess
to that effect,
entertainment.
Remember that this the quote unquote current duration of the Grinch is the third Grinch film. The original one was also an animated film.
True that.
So like, I don't know if I'd call that a sequel to that extent. I mean, I know what you mean. But yeah, like I think the case for Across the Spider-Verse being a true sequel, I could make that argument.
Why didn't I bring that up? That's one of my favorite movies.
That is a good sequel.
Well, like I think Beyond the Spider-Verse is not a sequel because it is a part 2 of Across the Spider-Verse.
It's not, I wouldn't call it part 2.
The Miles Morales storyline is not fulfilled at the end of the movie. Therefore, the next movie is going to be a continuation of that story.
I mean, it's a continuation of the story on a plot level, but on a character level, if the story is about him coming to terms and accepting himself and being able to go through a coming out, so to speak, to his mom, like he is able to go through that full arc in a way that makes sense to me as a full story. I'm not. Maybe that will continue into the second one. We don't. The third into Beyond the Spider-Verse, the third movie. I don't know, but I would say that there are elements in that movie that wrap up, so you could look at this as a complete piece. But it still is one on a strictly plot level. Yeah, the story events have not come to a close yet. So I think it's perspective on how you look at things.
It's fair. I don't know.
Spoilers for Across the Spider-Verse.
You know what? If you've been nominated for an Academy Award, then the life of spoiler warning has
passed.
My thing is like a month.
Nothing like that.
Anytime someone brings up Fight Club, I go, la 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 la, don't tell me the ending.
You haven't seen Fight Club yet.
Man, we can make that a movie. I do.
Although Justin is next on the movie list, by the way. We are going to get to that before we head out.
I'm going to say you are next.
And Cameron doesn't get a say.
Ooh. Whoa!
You don't get a say. In 2 weeks, we're doing American Fiction. We determined that 2 weeks ago. And then, so for the first May episode, which is, I don't remember when, it'll be Justin. Anyway, back to sequels.
Fight Club 2. The Last Fight.
Yeah, I think we need to create. I think it's interesting to go with a different with the same IP and put a different story, but I think we then need to create a whole new story. And I think studios feel that they have a lot less. They need to do a lot less work in order to do so. When in fact, I would say they have to do more. Where like Toy Story is a perfect example of like we need to like really build everything around these characters in a new film to make sure that like this movie can both stand on its own but uses the ideas that we've had in a new way. And I think studios don't do that, and that's the biggest issue.
Well, I think that's what makes Toy Story so great, like Justin and you both said, is the fact that it has its own storyline within the compound storyline of the universe of Toy Story. And I feel like it's tough to write like that though. Like it's especially with like movies like Kung Fu Panda and other sequels, like it's easy just to like franchise it, like Fast and Furious, for example, like just populate movies just for money and just for profit and not like put the effort into making the sequel great, like Toy Story, like making it an actual art form. You know what I mean? Because like the beginning of Fast and Furious, I'm choosing Fast and Furious, this is the longest sequels that I could think of off the top of my head. Like the first four, no more than four, are great, and then after that it's just feels like a money hit. They just brought in more actors, brought in more special effects just to like get money when it's just okay and predictable.
Sure. People try to find easy ways to make a lot of money and make good, like it's just not the way this works, this industry works. Like that's, I think what you realize when you jump into it is like there is no easy formula to making a good film. It does not matter what you put into it. You need to still put in a lot of hard work to do so. And like, look, for the people that are like, not to like crap on like people that make these sequels, right? Like when you talk about like Pirates of the Caribbean, for example, is a great example of like, I heard the story a bunch of times. They made the original film, was amazing. And Disney came back to them and was like, went to the writers and said, we want you to make 2 more movies. And the writers said no, and then the Disney gave them like $1 million per film per writer. And they went, okay. But episode 2 of that film series was only to build up to episode 3 because I didn't know what to do. And like I love those were very amazing writers, and kudos to them. And I you know, they're working and they're making money, right? Like that's part of it. It's like we need to. This industry is about the labor of love and the money that you need to survive.
Yeah.
I guess my request goes more out to the studios that aren't listening to say, please give us filmmakers time to develop things. There is no quick and easy answer, and we want to make sure that we come out with good things, because that's the only way that this industry thrives purely. So yeah.
Make good things.
Good thing. On that note,
Great things are great things.
for great decisions, Justin.
Comes big responsibilities. Remember what Uncle Ben said to Peter in this time.
What movie are we gonna watch in a month?
With great responsibility comes great movie prospects.
I'm between a few here. I only knew that I would be needing to pick this during this podcast within the last.
I told you last night.
You told me that I would pick a movie. You did not say that live on the podcast I would need to be ready with a pick. I thought, you know, over the next few days I'd think on it and be like, and maybe message in the chat. What about this one?
Well, how else will the world know?
The world. Oh, the whole world be watching. You're right. I'm looking over a list of movies that I'd been meaning to get around to, but I'm also thinking about some movies that I know Cameron hasn't seen. And I am consulting at the moment with someone on this.
You are a
let me
consultant
put
chooser.
out a feeler. Has anyone here seen Hunt for the Wilder People?
What is that
It-
about?
The title rings a bell, but I don't know. Is there a German title for that?
I haven't
me
seen
see.
it. I've been meaning to see it. Let's watch Hunt for the Wilder People.
Cool. Hunt for the Wilder People. You're gonna have to write that because I
Nice.
don't remember. You can put it in our private chat, and I'll make the next 2 episodes ready.
yeah.
Is this an animated film?
No, it is not.
No,
It is a Taika.
Interesting.
It's
On
on
Netflix.
So Netflix? Cool.
It's on Netflix, yeah.
I think I saw that.
Ooh,
Do you mean the one from 2016?
Yeah.
2016 sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, then I think I've actually seen that.
Well, then I'm excited. Hunt for the Wilder People.
For the Wilder People.
This podcast will be a good way for me to start narrowing down my 1,000 item watch list.
So for those, in 2 weeks we're gonna watch American Fiction. I hope to bring a special guest on for that. I still need to talk to said special guest.
Do we get to know ahead of time?
You guys will know.
Oh, okay.
We'll go through it in the chat in a bit. And then Hunt for the Wilder People comes in 4 weeks on April 28th. Also, please don't forget that as of next episode, we will be starting at noon Eastern time, 6 p.m. Berlin time, so 2 hours later than usually planned. You can, of course, find all of our episodes anywhere that you find you listen to your podcasts. Right after this, I'm going to download it and make sure that it is up. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Have a happy Easter. Go do some egg hunting. Go do some egg rolling, whatever you kind of do.
Have some ham and lasagna.
And
Like
be like
Garfield.
Garfield.
Awesome noodle soup and unleash you in a dragon warrior.
Yay!
And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.